Hey everybody, this is a follow-up to a video introducing Django, or I guess not a follow-up. This is part two of the video. It's a lot to fit in one video, so thought I'd spread it out. And in the first video, we created a Django project over here, and the name tipper has to do with, I was going to try to build a small tip calculator here so that we can see sort of the whole process in uh, one go. That's why I spread it out a couple videos. So we created our project, looked at the files in there, and then we created an app and uh, did a simple view, uh, a quick test case to get it running. So now we're ready to start doing something better than just sending back a string. We want to send back a full web page with a bunch of things going on that changes dynamically with our script. So first thing we need to do is make a new folder here. So I'll just do it here. Um, whatever system you're on, the appropriate way to make a new folder, and we want to call it templates. And Django will ask for it, so make sure you call it templates with all lowercase letters. This is for an automated process. And then in here is where we would put our HTML templates. So I'll jump over to the text editor for that. So we have this templates folder, nothing in it yet. So I'll create a new folder with it's an HTML file. So navigate over here and then templates. Um, I'll just do a quick another one for greeting. So greet.html, and that way all the predictive text works, and we can get a bunch of stuff here. So um, got a bunch of that starting stuff, but we just need to do a quick test case. So I want to add a title in here, but instead of directly typing it, I want to make this title something that Python is going to send from the Django project. So to do that, we use two curly braces, and inside of those two curly braces, we'll put a word, and this word, in this case, it matches. That doesn't have to, but this word is going to be a key from a Python dictionary that gets sent to the template. Same thing down here. We'll make a header and send a message. Close those curly braces and then close that header. So kind of the same thing as the original test case, only instead of sending text back, we are going to use this HTML page with these special characters, special placeholders, waiting for keys from a Python dictionary to be sent to them. So now let's go set up that dictionary. And to that, we do in the views method, or sorry, the views script. So whenever this file is generated, this first line was here. We added that second one because I always think that makes a better introduction. But this one was included here. So this method that was imported, that is what we use to read the views on those HTML templates. So we'll set up a Python function. I'll call it other greeting. And all of our Django methods need to take in have a parameter to accept a client request coming in. So it's typically called request. It's a Python parameter. You can call it whatever you want. It's what you send to it that matters. And we will return something with that render method. And what we have to return, first thing is the request, because that request includes a lot of information. But one of the big things is the client that made the request is included there. So we need to know where to send this stuff back to. Then we need to know which template to use, and that's this HTML template we just made. So greet.html that is stored in a folder called templates. So I'm going to use greet.html, and that particular HTML file, once the predictive text gets out of the way, is expecting some keys from a Python dictionary. So we need a Python dictionary that has a title key with some value for that, and a message key with some value for that. For the message, I'll just write hello world, the standard configuration check. If we can make the word show up on the screen, then everything's configured correctly. We don't want to wait until we have a whole bunch of complex stuff going on to test whether our configurations are correct. And for a title, I'll just put greetings. That suddenly seemed more appropriate in my mind. So if I save that and then greet, and now, just like we did in the first video, we need a URL that will call this. So I believe the tutorial that the course shell links to put everything in the main one. As projects grow large, that can get very complicated having it all in one list. So most people tend to split it up into URLs that go with each application in the project instead of one big overall one. And to do this, we'll just add another path to the list. So path, I don't know, hello again is going to call views dot other greeting. It's going to get ready to call that function. It's not actually going to call it yet, so no parentheses here. So now we should be able to run another test real quick. So first off, I have to start the Python server, or start the Django server. So I'll navigate to where this folder's at, or this project's at. And right there's the manage.py script. So have the Python interpreter, look at that script, and call the run server function or method out of it. So now that that's running, we should see it over in the browser. So 127.0.0.1 is the machine I'm on. On port 8000, there was, oh, hello again. I forgot what I put in there for a second. And here we get our template, and you'll see the title, which shows up in the little tab, was filled in automatically from that dictionary, and our message came in as well. But what if that message was missing? Let's look at that real quick. So I'll go over here and maybe when we set up our dictionary, we forgot we needed two things in there and we only sent one. What happens? Well, we don't get any message. So no error. It didn't throw an error per se, but we didn't get our message showing up. So what's the best way to deal with that? And hopefully your first thought is some sort of selection structure. So to do that in Django, again, we'll use curly braces. Only this time, instead of two curly braces, we want curly brace percent, and then we'll say if, and whatever key from that dictionary we're looking for. So if message is present, then close that off. And we can do all that stuff. So if the message is there, then show the message. But it might not be there. So we probably want an else block on here. Hopefully you see a pattern there. Curly brace percent, if, should look familiar from other places. And then that message, it isn't explicitly false, so it's true. Because everything in Python that is not explicitly false will count as true. Paragraph, didn't get a message. So some sort of default case. And then we end that with the words end if jammed together as a single word. So if I save that and come back over here and reload, you can see without a message, it gives us a fallback. If you send an array in your dictionary, since that's not really going to make it in our example, for element in list, which, sorry, I shouldn't say array. We don't have arrays in Python. We'll do a bunch of do stuff, and then percent or curly brace percent end for as one word, percent curly brace. So that's not going to show up in our example today, but I wanted to throw that syntax out there. Hopefully, if you pause the video or look back and forth between those, you will see the consistencies of how we make selections in our Django templates and how we do a loop, and we just pass in a list as the value on our dictionary. But I was just typing that up because it's not going to show up in today's example. So we have this. I'll go over here and put that message back in so that it does like it's supposed to. And when we reload it, if the message is there, we'll see that. And that is how our templates get used. So we put together this templates folder, then write a bunch of HTML code, like hopefully you saw in the SDev 153 class. If not, let me know, and we can sit down and go over that for make sure at least one person in every group knows that. Then we put a view that returns to the client that requested it the template we want to fill in, and then a dictionary with the keys for those spots we left in the template, and add it to the URLs. And then this is what we do over and over and over again. So that setup we do once for the project, and then this, make a template, set up a method in views to call that template, and then put a URL that will actually that sets everything up for the call so that Django's ready to make that function call when the time is ready. So I want to do a quick actual small application, put together an HTML form and do stuff, but I will do that in a third video. So hopefully it all makes sense after seeing it a couple times. And then this is the part we do over and over and over again with our application. The setup only happens once. And then when you go to submit this, you'll want to turn in all of the files that we have here. Not a virtual environment. So if you did it in a virtual environment, you do not need to include that on your repository because I already have Python installed on my computer. So I don't need the virtual environment. That's customized to your computer. Your virtual environment's not going to work on somebody else's installation of Python. I would have to create a new virtual environment made from my installation of Python in order to run that. So we don't need to include those, but hopefully that's making sense. I'm gonna come back with one more video and put together an HTML form, and then we send data to our view function to do some processing and send numbers back. So I will see you in the next video.